All right, so bear with me for a bit here. I work for a small startup. It's part of a larger technological ecosystem, and it's pervasive here in the city that I live in. It's baked in the very DNA. We do consider ourselves the Silicon Valley of the North. Now, we are, after all, Canadian, so we do manage to keep that douche factor down to a bare minimum. But as part of this technological ecosystem, that means I'm privy to my share of conferences with their requisite keynotes. And one of my favorite keynotes ever was Canadian astronaut Chris Hadfield. I remember him talking about the experience of strapping himself to this metal tube packed with high explosives that was going to launch him into space, and how at that moment he was living in a binary situation where it was either this day that he would die in a fiery explosion or once again leave gravity behind and escape Earth. And somehow, talking about his astronaut adventures, he managed to tie in product launches, software updates, preparing for the worst, and planning for every contingency. And it wasn't just all hot air. I remember talking to some of the people that were organizing the event. In the lead up to the keynote, he would get on conference calls and immediately take over and say things like, okay, we have an allocated 45 minutes, and in that time, I would like to update everyone on the following 3 tasks assigned from our last call, cover off on the following 5 agenda topics, and assign names to the following 3 actionable items. Let's begin. And the same goes for his presentation, which was flawless, smooth, funny as hell, and human. But I guarantee you, he delivered down to the second the required 35 minutes that was asked of him, factoring in pausing for effect, appreciative laughter, and audience clapping. Chris Hadfield is a consummate professional. More recently, I saw a keynote featuring Patty McCord. She was the Chief Talent Officer at Netflix for 14 years and responsible for the much-lauded, frequently downloaded document, Netflix Culture, Freedom and Responsibility. The thing has been viewed well over 12 million times, and Sheryl Sandberg, COO of Facebook, has called it one of the most important documents to come out of Silicon Valley. Now, one of the key takeaways is that organizations aren't a family, they're a team. You can't fire family. As much as I'd like to, I cannot pink slip my daughter for 3 subsequent quarters of poor performance in room cleaning quality. And Booktube, despite its tendency towards warm and fuzzy, also not a family. You, the viewer, can fire poor performers after dozing midway through one too many weekly stand-ups. I mean, we as booktubers are all an itchy finger away from a quick unsubscribe. In the corporate world, we have the annual performance review, which, frankly, Patty hates. They're best practices only in the fact that everybody does them. Nobody likes them, and frankly, they're pretty ineffective. But that's not to say that feedback isn't important. It's just that we could learn from professional sports teams. Patty talks about NHL coaches who sit down with each of their players one-on-one after every 10 games to go over what they did well, what they did wrong, and what goals they're going to set for themselves in the next 10 games. It's correcting in the moment and rewarding impact. So why not? Let's talk about why you're here and what I can do better. But that part about me is a very, very tiny part. I want to find out more about you, the viewers. Tell me, what's good? I've got a link to the survey down below. You can remain completely anonymous, or you can provide your YouTube channel or Twitter handle, and I'm going to compile all the answers and shoot a future video with all your feedback. And really, it's not about me or this channel. I want to ask you questions like, what outside of YouTube is giving you life right now? 3 books you're digging? What's your side hustle? What are your desert island indulgences? So it's a really simple survey, only a single page. You can fill out one of the answers, some of them, all of them. I just hope you take the time to check it out. I think it'll be a lot of fun. I'm curious where this little experiment goes. And I appreciate you taking that time to do that. Think of it as a Booktube tag video for you, the viewer. Anyway, that's it for me. It's a short video. I hope you have a great week of reading in the meantime, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.